What's up, you guys? Welcome to College Kicks. I'm your host, Gio Galvez. And as you see from the title of today's episode, we'll be speaking to Siddiq Lezzar and Jake Sharkid, two center backs of the CSUN Men soccer team. But before we get into talking to them, let's look around the Big West and see a couple games that happened and how some teams got a few results. Now looking at it, UC San Diego loses to the number 23 team in the country, San Diego University or the University of San Diego 1-0. Cal State Fullerton gets a big time win, beating Utah Tech 3-1, as you see right there. And then CSUN getting a crucial win yesterday, I think, to really establish themselves somewhere in the league. But these are non-conference games, so we're just seeing how they're gonna end up right now. They get a big time goal, 1-0 goal at the 76th minute from Ethan 4-4. And then we see Cal Poly gets a very nice win against San Diego State 2-0. And in GCU tying with Santa Barbara, which kind of says a lot because GCU won their season's next opponents in this coming up game. But UC Santa Barbara is a conference opponent of CSUN. And UC Santa Barbara is a really good team. So that kind of shows where GCU is kind of standing this season thus far. At least, but that's just one game. Obviously, we have to see the records and everything else, but that's just from that game itself. And then Cal State Bakersfield unable to score or even get or unable to score and loses to Gonzaga 2-0. And that's just how the couple games went over this weekend. These teams and how they're looking and standing. As for the season, guys, I know how they've been playing and things that are going on. It's looking a lot better as they have liked. And we're gonna get right into talking to them. And now joining the podcast already, Jake Sharkid and Siddiq Lezzar. What's up, you guys? How you guys doing?
Good, good. Thank you. Thanks for having us today.
Doing great, man. Good seeing you.
Hey, man, it's great having you guys here. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. And so, for the viewers who are watching, I am the season broadcaster, one of the season broadcasters. So I have the luxury and the opportunity to talk to these guys on a lot of daily basis. And, I really got to know them and they've got to tell me a lot. So today, we're going to be talking about them and how their experience, their season is going so far this season. So now this is open to both of you guys. Kind of just want you guys' thoughts of so far how you guys are feeling this season. This season has gone, especially kind of starting from summer training. I saw you guys in spring training. I didn't get to see you guys in summer training, but how is that, coming together and now it's leading to the result you guys are getting in these non-conference games?
Yeah, so I think definitely like from the start, even captain's practice, kind of summer before the actual season even started. I think there's kind of been like a really good mentality within the group. Like one of the biggest things we've noticed this year is just like the quality of training, how good everyone's been in practice, and it feels like everyone's effort is 100% all the time. Even Coach Terry, he's talked to us a couple times about it, like how happy he is to see that, how everyone's really like putting the work in training. And I think now with the games going and how they've gone so far, like you can kind of see it translating onto the field. I think the effort everyone puts in every day in training is starting to show in the games, and I think that's a large reason why we've been able to achieve the success that we've had so far this season.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of Jake, I would say even going further back than summer, spring would be the fall. You know how we had that kind of upset going with our record and stuff. We fueled that into going into spring, and that's when our training really started to push everybody in order to be at their best. And then summer as well, everybody was focusing on their own thing, whether it's individual training, summer league training. It's all to prepare ourselves for the fall, which Jake said, even in captain's training, we saw a difference. And now, as Terry is saying himself, that he can see a difference. There's some spark in the air that this team is connected. His team wants to win. He said something last night, like last fall, we don't win these games. We tie them. We don't find a way. This year, we're finding a way, and hopefully we can keep the streak going.
No, yeah, definitely. You definitely could see, I think, just from a fan's point of view, not just myself as the broadcaster, but from the fans, from the season students to the parents to even the away teams to everyone that goes. And I think that shows a lot when how easy it is for just people from the outside to see difference and see the change that you guys are showing, the results that you guys are getting. Coach Sherry's right. Like last season, you guys were getting ties in games that I think you guys should have won, or you guys even had the lead, and it ends up in ties, and it's like, okay, something's missing, and it definitely shows you guys found that and clicked this season so far already. And this is just September games, you know.
Hmm.
Now speaking, you mentioned how this season, last season kind of went right here. Just looking at it, last season you guys had a 2-8-7 overall season. Now those 7 ties, they were big time ties, and some of them came late in the season when you guys needed big time wins in order just to try to get into conference postseason play. But you guys got ties in games that you should have won. Kind of, I don't want to go too far back and ask you guys like, oh, like reminisce and all that, but just briefly, like, how were those moments feeling, like those last few games where we got ties or couldn't get the win, and now, like you said, you're carrying it into this season?
Yeah, I mean, it hurt. It hurt for all of us. Like even now, you just pulling this up, like when we're looking at this, we're like, damn, man, like it really, like, yeah, it wasn't a good feeling, and it was a lot of frustration. I think frustration is probably the leading feeling in those times, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like Jake said, just looking at a 2 as our winning games is already hurtful, frustrated. But we use that. We use that from last fall, as I said, going into spring, summer, this fall as well, which makes it even feel a lot better. But we know that we're only around halfway through the season, and anything can happen. So we're always going to be staying focused.
Yeah, and now staying focused and changing up how you guys have been doing this season. This is how you guys are looking like right now. You guys are 5 wins, 0 losses, and 3 ties, which so far from what I've seen broadcasting you guys, this is the best start you guys have had in a long time. And kind of just looking at like the games you get, those are exhibitions, those don't count. But starting from Tulsa, where you guys get a little tie, tell me how that game kind of went. Was it kind of tough? Was it, I saw the second half. I was lucky enough to see the second half on, oh, they're showing it, but kind of just give me how that game went in like opening your official first game.
Sid, you can start this one up.
Yeah. So we went into this game pretty prepared. We can't say we didn't prepare for this game. We were very excited to get into non-conference play, coming off of, again, like we said, last season. We were very excited, very fueled. I think we played well in the first half. Second half, we kind of let them sit on us. So we saw glimmers of gameplay like we had last season, and instead of sitting on that and kind of not working on what we need to work on every game, I would say starting from Tulsa, we had something to work on, and the difference, like we said, was in training. 100% bought in, fixing the issues, going into the next game, which you can see Oral Roberts there, getting a 1-0 win, which was a grindy win, but we ended up doing it. But there's just a momentum, there's a habitual feeling in training that there's going to be issues in the season, like we had at Tulsa, like we had in each game, but we're gonna find a way to find a solution. And from that Tulsa game, we found solutions. Went to Oral Roberts, Biola, as you can see. But yeah, I would say, it's just last year we got a habit of tying. We were complacent with, not pushing ourselves all the way through the 90. But this year's different.
Jake, would you like to piggyback on that?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't play in the first couple games. I was coming back from an injury, but I was there watching from the side, and yeah, I mean it was a good chance to kind of see the game from a different like point of view, I guess. And so me watching against Tulsa, I think, like Sid said, at times we were playing well. We moved the ball well, but yeah, at times definitely in that game, I think we kind of let them get on top of us and move the ball around us. And I think we were doing a lot of running in that game. For me watching on the side, especially the midfielders, the forwards, they were they were having to run around a lot because there was times when we couldn't quite like win the ball high up with our press like we were planning to do. Um, so I think that led to the team getting a little tired. But in the end of the day, first game of the season away at Tulsa, they're a good side. 0-0, like no goals conceded. It's not a terrible result. Obviously, we want more, but yeah, me watching from the side, I could see with how the game went, it really, it wasn't. We didn't need to be too down about that result. And then yeah, like Sid said, we definitely took stuff to learn from that game. We did film, we learned what we can do better. Came into Oral Roberts, good performance, good away win. It was a little closer than what we would have liked, but we got the job done, clean sheet. That's the most important thing. And then yeah, as the games kept going on, Biola there, 2-0 win, and yeah, I think the big thing that Sid said that I agree with is that before Tulsa, we didn't really have anything to go off. We hadn't played a competitive game yet as a team. We had played our exhibitions, but that was our first game where it counts. So it was the first time to see how we do together when the pressure's on. And after the game, it was our first chance to go back and analyze and see what we can learn from the game and how we can improve.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I'm glad that you guys kind of said this, and especially Jake pointing out the watching film and stuff, because now looking forward, we get a tie against Seattle. You guys get a tie against a team that watching them, I think that was a game you guys should have won. And it was very tough not getting the result. And I feel like you guys felt the same way. And then you guys get another tie against San Jose State. However, like Jake points out with watching the film and seeing, what you guys need to improve on, just like you guys did with Tulsa tying and again the win against Oral Roberts, you guys do the same after tying San Jose State and Pacific. And then you get two crucial and big time wins against LMU and UNLV. I mean, guys, I think like that really shows the development, at least of you guys so far this season, being able to adapt during the season already. Because to me, LMU and UNLV are pretty tough teams, and the way you guys were able to just go from okay, we're getting ties, but we need to win, and you guys flip it so quick. I mean, the results kind of just show themselves.
Yeah, for sure. I think yeah, they're definitely tough teams, tough games, and we knew it was going to be tough going into those games, and we knew the way LMU play and UNLV play. They are teams that it's hard. They're hard to break down. They're good, strong defensive teams. It's hard to score goals against them. So we knew it was going to be tough, and we knew that on the counter attack as well. Both of the teams they can be dangerous. They're pretty direct. And you have to be like switched on all moments of the game, even if you have the ball for the majority of it, you can't lose concentration like on transition, because that's when these kind of teams hurt you. So I think it was really good disciplined team performances in both those games, because yeah, we knew what we had to do. We managed to find the goal, and we managed to not concede as well, and yeah, that we got the wins in those games, so that's the most important thing.
Yeah, like Jake said, those teams prey on you to make mistakes. LMU, they were waiting for you to cough up the ball. Once they did it, in the first half, you were watching it, they had 3-4 shots, just kind of back and forth. So again, from that game, we took, we got to be more clinical on our feet. We got to take care of the ball more. Defensive transition has to be way quicker. And you saw that at UNLV. UNLV were a team who sat back. They were waiting for you to make a mistake again, like LMU. But I think we were a lot cleaner in that game. And it shows with the wins as well. It was gritty. It was hard. But that's what Northridge is about. We find a way. We don't let any team concede on us. So hopefully we can keep it going.
Gritty is a great way to say it, Siddiq, because you two, especially you two, but also Danny, you guys are very physical players along with Zach. But in that defensive line, you three are very physical. So does Odin. That's kind of just you guys' playing style, and it really sets the tone. Like if you watch, obviously we do, but for the viewers watching a lot of soccer, you see there's certain styles of playing defense. Some like to just be clean and win the ball. Some like to be a little more physical. Show their presence that they're in there. And that's what both you guys do. Both you guys win those 50-50s in the air, right? You guys, like Sadiq's flying everywhere. They see it every single game. Jake is just waiting right there, just statured of just winning it. But you guys also have that burst of energy. I've seen Siddiq run maybe like a 3-5 40-yard dash out of nowhere because he has to sprint back to win the ball. So it's like you guys' playing style really is gritty and just physicality, at least what it shows, but also playing smart about it because you guys don't commit a lot of fouls also.
I mean, honestly, we speak about it like at the start of every game. It's a big identity of the way not just us, but I think CSUN plays. That's the kind of team we are. Like Sid mentioned before, we're like a gritty team. We like to be physical, and honestly, we like to make the other team really leave the game knowing that it was a physical contest. So I think it's important that the back line sets that tone and establishes that. And like I mentioned to you before, Gio, that I think this year, and this is one of the biggest differences from last year, the whole team has really bought into that team defense. Everyone's being physical, everyone's putting their body on the line, and I think that's why we've been able to be solid defensively. It's not just the back line that's doing it. It's everybody, and I think that's what makes the biggest difference.
Yeah, I agree exactly with Jake. The first line of defense is at the front. Our pressure has been good this year. It's not just from the back line. That's not why we've conceded only one goal so far. It's everybody. Everybody's bought in. And not to sound repetitive, but again, training. That's really where the root of it all is. Terry tells us like if training should be harder than games, and I think Jake could tell you it is. There's times where we just look at each other like, wow, we're doing a lot. But that's why we're the players we are in the games, because training is a lot harder. We push ourselves there so that we can we know what to do in game like scenarios. So just the whole back line is bought in, the whole midfield line, and when everybody's bought in, we'll defend for you. You make a mistake, but you were trying to do the right thing, I'll put my body on the line for you. Jake will do the same thing. Danny, Odin, all the boys in the back. So when everybody's connected, when everybody's doing their jobs, it's a lot easier for us.
Yeah, and Siddiq, I'm glad you bring that in, Jake, as well as like a group effort because we saw that I want to say at least one time in both LMU versus Vegas, where first Jake makes a nice save on the line. I believe it was in the first half against LMU, where the ball kind of switches across and Drugs is unable to reach it, and Jake is there running in to save it right before it goes to the line. And then yesterday, I believe it was you, Lezzar, that ball was bouncing around in the box in that first half, and before Drugs was even able to make the save, which I want to point out. I pointed out in the broadcast yesterday, he made two more saves before ending up with the ball back in his hands right there. But before those two saves, I believe I saw you, Lezzar, throw your body in front of the ball or throw a leg or something to block a shot. And that gave Drugs enough time to go from his left side, which he threw himself thinking the shot was going there, to get up and throw his leg to make one of those saves that he did right before. But that was because of you throwing yourself there. And like you say, it's all about throwing your body in there. And that's exactly literally what we saw, like you guys are literally doing what you're speaking about.
Yeah, like you said, it's a team effort. If Dorian's not able to get that ball, I'm gonna do everything that I can. If I can't, Jake's gonna do everything that he can. And yeah, whenever I cleared that ball off the line, Dorian had the next one. It's just next man up. There's just, if we're all bought into the same ideology that ball's not gonna touch the net, you have 5, 6, 7 guys thinking the same thing. So like you said, it's all a team effort.
Yeah. And so gonna take away this schedule. I'm kind of stepping away from the schedule now. Now I want to ask you guys a little questions about some things I know is a little different. One, Jake, I see you sometimes playing on the right back position now once Danny goes in. And I mentioned it on the air. It's kind of like when Ronald Araujo from Barcelona and Jules Conde, when they first got to the team, they're kind of switching back and forth a little bit. Once they established themselves, Conde on the right and Jules in the center back. Does much of anything change for you, Jake? Because now on the right, you're going up a lot more to help in the midfield and help attack. How do you feel? Like, how's that feeling for you?
Yeah, honestly, it's good. I enjoy when I go out there. It's definitely a lot of running, and you can see Odin. He's been working so hard there every game. So I think it is a position that it's normal that Coach Terry is going to make changes to. He's probably not going to have someone playing out in that position the whole game just because of how much it demands physically. So when I go out there, I know that I'm in for some running and I got to get up and down, but I enjoy it, man. It's nice because I get to get into positions that, as a center back, I don't usually get to get in, kind of going up and crossing balls in and being part of the attack. So yeah, I enjoy it. And with Danny coming in, I know I've got someone back there that's going to be solid and do the job perfectly back in the position I was playing. So it's nice. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice at the end of the half to get up, go forward, and also do a little bit more running than I usually do at center back.
And that's true. I see you running a lot more, and both of you guys just look drenched at the end of the game. It's like, dude, you guys are there almost for a full 90. Now, Siddiq, I haven't seen you move from that center back position, but is there any possibility that maybe one time Luke might get subbed out, you might move there, or you might move to maybe a CDM? Because I know, a lot of kind of the mentality a little bit. We see Zach dropping back to help you guys on the line sometimes. So, does that mean maybe, hey, you might play a little CDM? What's kind of the idea?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the opposition. Sometimes opposition has sort of a setup to where it'll push you out in different positions. Last year, I was more left side of our back three. This year, I'm more in the middle. In training, sometimes I'll be pushed to left back if needed. But we do have two very secure left back players. Luke Lawrence, who's a big success for us this year. Transferring
big time.
St. Mary's, yeah, very huge. He's defensively, offensively, very great player. So I don't want to be his competition. I like my position. But no, whenever he's, get to 10 minutes left in the half, sometimes we get Emmanuel Susi in, who's strong Italian defense. So I would say you probably see me more in center back, CDM. Haven't talked about it. Wouldn't mind it, but I would say I'm more secure in the position than I am now.
All right. I mean, you never know. You obviously never know. I personally myself, I went from goalie to midfield. So it was, it was a big difference. I went from not running to running crazy.
Yeah.
And it was intense. I say it worked out a bit for the situation that happened with that, but it ended up working out and ended up liking playing that midfield position, and I ended up growing and learning a lot. So that's why I asked for you guys in that college experience. I went to a certain level. You guys are past that. Is there like a big difference from like just the regular high school clubs and all that to learning a different position in college?
Yeah, I mean, there's players in college that have played their whole lives in the same position. So if you're looking to change, or if a coach is looking to change you, you got to adapt quick. You got to figure out, okay, what are my strengths? How can I use it to be this position, that position? One player on our team, Axel Agorcia, he had to play center back the first few games, which he did well there. So he adapted. He was a 6, so like you said, there's a connection there. But it is just the ability to adapt quicker than other players. That is what college is about. How can I help the team in different scenarios, and how can I help them efficiently?
Jake?
Yeah. I mean, a big part of, honestly, in my experience of college, at least, is like what Sid said. You have to be able to adapt what the coach wants from you. I've even myself in college, I've played a couple different positions, and there's guys in our team that 1 week they're in starting playing one position, and then next game comes, maybe they move to a different position. So you really just, if you like it, if you don't like it, it doesn't really matter. You have to be able to go in and do the job in any position that whatever coach is going to ask of you. I think that's super important in any college team in my experience that I've seen.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. That's why I think at that level, it's like, how fast can you guys adapt? Like you guys are saying, like Augusia had to adapt just for those few games, and like you're saying, Jake, you've had to do with other teammates. And kind of speaking of other teammates, There's been a group of guys who have just transferred in. Luke Lawrence, as we mentioned, is one of them. Agurcia is one of them mentioned. I think those two alone have made a crazy impact in their own ways and how they help the team. But also, you got Cupido, who's now getting big time minutes as the striker. And then we also have uh who else? Keep on thinking who else has played. Well, we got Johnson who played yesterday, and then Coach Terry's son has played a little. We've seen a little. Just that's just to name a few. How are those players and Danny Garcia, as we mentioned, how are those players being able just to help and adapt and get into the flow of things? You know, just whatever time they've been given.
Yeah, I think everyone that's come in has done really, really well, freshmen included, you know, and I think that's something that is quite rare in college for the freshmen to be able to come in and really make a big impact on the team. I think that's something that's like very special to achieve. So like, yeah, you know, like hats off to the group of freshmen that came in. They've done really well. And like you said, transfers, you know, we've picked up some great transfers. And honestly, I think everybody that's come in for this season has added positive value for the team. And, you know, like that's all that Coach Terry can ask for. You know, when he's recruiting players, he's bringing them in to influence the team positively. You know, there's no point in bringing somebody in if they're not gonna affect the team. So I think he's done a really good job in recruiting and bringing guys in that are really gonna make an impact for our team. And you know, like I said with the freshmen, these guys have a whole 4 years of college to play. You know, so if they're in here now already doing well and making an impact, like just imagine them 4 years down the line. You know, once they've got that college experience under their belt, like I think it's really exciting. It's really exciting for the program, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how everyone continues to grow.
Yeah, me as well. I think Jake established that these transfers, freshmen, they're all dogs. I think Terry did well at recruiting character too. I think that's a big success within our team. Everyone's bought into the same thing. Everyone is looking out for each other. So when that happens in a team, any scenario that gets thrown our way, we'll deal with it together.
Yeah, definitely, and they've helped a lot. But I think like a big part of it is just how they've been able to change and not I don't mean change, but as like changing defense to offense and depending on their position. And kind of also going back on you guys saying that, we spoke about players being able to play different positions. We've seen Sebastian Fuentes play a little more in that center mid role, where last season he was a little more on the outsides of the midfield. We're seeing Wagner also play a little bit more when George and Trudeau and Zach are gaining maybe a break. You see Wagner playing a little more in the middle. You see 4-4 who got the goal yesterday, the game-winning goal for you guys yesterday. He was moving a little bit in the midfield. But we're seeing the change. And Kike, who when I first met him, I thought he was going to be like a center mid and probably like his original position, but he's playing on top for you guys when he's getting some playing time. Like I kind of want to say like just speaking on that, the change of positions, they are able to do it, but also like you guys, are you guys gonna get any goals? That's kind of I don't know how I was gonna shift to that, but like, are you guys gonna score goals on set pieces? I know it's a weird transition, but I was trying to get to that because they're able to move, they get the opportunities to score or whatever. And even Danny Garcia as a center back got his first goal. What about you two? Are you getting any set pieces? Were you guys having any opportunities or what?
Yeah, I think we definitely having opportunities, and I'm confident that it'll come. Sid was really unlucky a couple games ago against San Jose. He had a great header, hit the post inside of the post. We all thought it was a goal. So, I mean, there's definitely opportunities there, and I think our team in general has been dangerous from set pieces this year. So, I mean, I think we're both super hungry for it. Like we want it to happen, and I'm confident it will happen. You know, we just need to keep doing the right things, and yeah, I'm confident it will come soon enough.
Yeah, I'm waiting for mine. Jake's waiting for his. We're doing our job in the back line, but there's always that hunger, to get your head on the ball, get your foot on it, touching the back of the net. But it'll come soon. I think we're doing well with the set piece war. Terry says you got to win. It's a game within a game. Danny was the man to get at that time, which, Danny's goal is our goal as well. So, we're okay with not scoring, but we do have an itch for it. as long as we keep the ball in the back of the net, something will come up on the other side.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of the effort you. It's kind of like karma. You do some good karma is gonna come back to you.
Yeah.
And it's one of those. And I was just wondering because, like I said, last season we seen Sebas get some. We seen Marley Edwards, from moving from the wings to the top. We seen all these players. I think Blevins this season and Cupido both of them could fight for possibly having leading the team with goals. Once those opportunity comes to them in their position, and how you guys are able to find him offensively. So, but I was just wondering, like, you guys are center backs, man. Not too many score, but I feel like you guys really have especially winning those headers. Both of you guys flying in the air like that. Like, you guys got to find something in there. It's just how I'm seeing it,
I hope so.
Yeah, no, we will.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold you guys to that. That's kind of something I have for you guys. But yeah, guys. I mean, anything else you guys like to add right now? Coming down. Anything you guys like to add?
I think just one thing that Sid kind of touched on it earlier, but we're still early in the season. Conference hasn't started yet, so we're good. Everyone's happy with how we're doing, but if we learn anything from last year, we have to be humble. You can't let anything get to your head. And honestly, yes, we've had wins yet, but as a team, we haven't achieved anything yet. We haven't achieved like goals that we've set out to do. So I like to say it to the guys before each game, but always the most important game is the next game. So right now, all focus is on GCU, and everything goes into winning that game. I think that's the mentality that we need to keep throughout the rest of the season. Just focus on the next game, and because I'm confident if you focus on the next game, do everything you can to just win the next game, and you keep that mentality throughout the season, I think that's how you achieve success in the long run. You can't start thinking too far ahead or get ahead of ourselves. Oh, we've got this record undefeated, because right now it doesn't mean all that much. We need to win the next game, and then we need to get into conference, and we need to keep winning games in conference, and that's how we're going to have a successful season. And if we can do that at the end of the season, that's when we can be happy and celebrate what we've done. But right now, I think it's important that as a team, we just all focus is on the next game. That's how it is for me.
Yeah, I mean, Jake said it perfectly. Non-conference play doesn't win you a conference. You showed that schedule up on the screen earlier, and it said 0-0-0. So that's what we're focused on. We're focused on GCU next game. Hopefully we do well against them. We're going to prepare our best. But again, we're ready for conference. We're ready for GCU. But we got to stay focused, got to stay humble, and good things will come.
Yeah, and I think that's a very true mentality, where if you look too far ahead, you're gonna forget those steps that get to that point, and mistakes are gonna happen. You might slip and fall from the steps, or you might just happen to get through it, but not in the way that you guys really would like how the results came. So I think that's a very strong mentality, especially you guys. I asked Siddiq, he said Jake, he's one of our captains, but he also mentioned that, like, we are all kind of leaders in our own way. Like, we all try to step up in our own way. We don't have to have the band in order to step up and pull each other up. And I think that's very true. And that's something you guys both show in your character. And something right now I just wanted to add to it. How is it like having Arturo Reveles Churo, George Solorzano, and Zach Harris, at least so as your starting midfield? Obviously, you have others like Agurcia coming in to play in that midfield, but how is it like having those three as your midfield and just running the game itself, being able to play with them?
Yeah, as a centre back, when you're looking to break lines and advance the ball forward, those are the kind of guys you want in front of you. You can trust them with the ball, you can play them in tough situations, and you can be really confident that they're going to keep the ball or even turn and create something with it, And then defensively as well, these guys, they'll run all game for you. And as a defender, that's all you can ask of the players in front of you. Like, if they're going to work hard and they're going to do the running defensively, I don't think you can fault them, because we all know how good those guys are with the ball. So it's as centre backs, it's great having them in front of us because of both aspects. Where they're quality on the ball, they're going to keep the ball for us, they're going to create stuff for us, and defensively, they're going to work hard, they're going to give us that second layer, and they're going to keep winning the ball back in the midfield.
Yeah, like Jake said, it's the whole package. Midfield is the core of your team, and they do it well. Zach being a little bit more defensive, he's strong defensively, keeps the ball. Sometimes we're in tough situations, and we just kind of pump him the ball, and for some reason it gets out. So Churro as well, he's more box to box. He can do forward, he can do backwards. He does everything. He's one of the guys who run the most for our team, and we applaud him for that. Solo, he gives us that offensive threat that we need, that little flair. And again, it's the whole package, and we're more than happy to have them as the core of our team.
Yeah, and I think that's just a small part that Coach Terry was able to build on, especially with George and Zach being playing them as freshmen, and now it leads to results that we have, that you guys have right now, and just the progress that you guys are going in. But yeah, look at time here. I just want to say thanks again, guys, for joining with the podcast. Thanks for helping out, and hopefully I get you guys back soon towards the end of the conference, and we see how it's kind of resulted in what you guys wanted.
Sounds good, Gio. Thank you so much for having us on.
Thanks for having us, man.
No, thank you, guys. See you guys next time.
Yeah.
See you later.
All right, guys. Well, that was Jake and Siddiq Lezzar taking their time out to join us in the podcast today. For you guys, until next time, thank you for watching. For the next episode, you guys will see who we'll be having this time. But until then, this is College Kicks. I'm Joe Galvez. See you guys.